Hello, you're listening to the Grove podcast. My name is Mos. I'm your host for this episode, as usual. I'm joined today by Tabs. Hi, Tabs. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm pensive mood today, so yeah, but no, good. Looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, it feels different. So Tabs is our only other guest. I've not been rude and ignored anyone else. You're in a mood that I would describe potentially as, are we like this because we are so used to getting absolutely trashed at this stage of the Champions League, and we almost had the win in our hands, and it ended up drawing the game under circumstances that we're not used to seeing Arsenal do in 2024. You know, that essentially is how I feel this morning. It was a tough one. But let's get straight into it. Let's talk about our highlights and our lowlights from the match against Bayern yesterday, which obviously, as everyone knows, ended in a 2-2 draw. So you can go first.
The highlight was, I'd say, the crowd. I think the Ole 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 song at the beginning in the first 5 minutes is like, wow, sort of like that was immense. It was so loud. The crowd were up for it. So no, I sort of really enjoyed that. I was in the North Bank, so proper singing territory. So yeah, even the guy said to me during that, he said, yeah, we need to pace ourselves here because we might not be able to last the full length of the game if we're singing like this the whole time. So that was amazing. The crowd were on form. Loved that. Low light was just seeing us put in a sort of below par defensive performance that we haven't seen in a while, and it was a shame to see that. Yeah, I think Bayern did really well against us. Sort of worked out a few things, and yeah, so it was a bit unfortunate. We were, as you said, we're not used to this, and so that was a bit of a low light. Okay, fine. These things happen, but I think we'll talk about the response later. So yeah, those are my highlights, lowlights, and yeah. What about you, Mos? What were you happy and not so happy about?
I'm surprised you. So obviously, yeah, the crowd at the start, first 5 minutes was amazing. I'm surprised you mentioned that as your highlight, because I don't think the crowd after that really got involved. After obviously we scored and the crowd were brilliant. It was, and I've got a video of the first kind of 5 minutes or during the huddle. After the players after the Champions League anthem, and the atmosphere was unbelievable. I've never heard anything like it. And I know I say that all the time, but it just keeps getting better. But from when they scored up until when we scored our second, it was, and we've mentioned in the Grove group chat this morning, it was crazy. And I don't know who said it. Someone said it a few days ago. The lack of away fans will really be tough to generate an atmosphere, and it was true. There was no one to bounce off or anything, so that's interesting. My highlight for yesterday was the way that Mikel Arteta continuously now is making subs to improve what's going on in the game. We're not making subs for the hell of it. We're not making subs to come on and not do anything. We're making subs now, and they're making a real difference. Trossard against Brighton, he scored. I know it does make a difference, but it kind of puts the game to bed. 2-1's a completely different story than 3-0, for example, against Brighton. And again, yesterday, Gabriel Jesus coming on was just outstanding. In terms of the low light, it was just how naive and how we almost played the game on emotion over control, I felt. And that was really a shame to see. It was almost like the Arsenal of old, and the guy sitting next to me, either side of me was kind of saying the same. We were playing the game too much on emotion, and there was a couple of times where sorry, that's my Ring doorbell. If anyone could hear that in the background, there was a couple of times, lost my train of thought. There was a couple of times in the background, and not in the background. See, do you know what this has done to me? There was right, let me start that again, the Grove. I'm sorry, guys. There was a couple of times where Martin Odegaard or Mikel Arteta would kind of rally up the crowd, and the guys were like, it's not the crowd that need rallied up, it's the players play on the pitch. So yeah, that was my highlight and low light. But yeah, the lineup was interesting, wasn't it? Kivior played at left back, and I really honestly thought that potentially he'd bring Zinchenko in again. I don't know what his thoughts were on that. And as we've now seen, Kivior getting taken off at half time. Just hope it doesn't knock his confidence, but he was getting outrun and out-muscled and out-strengthed by Leroy Sané, who we always obviously know is a very good player, right? So what did you think from where you were sitting?
Look, I said before the game I'd be happy to have our 4 big men at the back. He's proved himself. He's done a good job. Maybe the cracks were there. We saw against City, he started to get a bit exposed. So I think this is an easy one in hindsight. So, and in hindsight, yes, it was the wrong decision. However, the alternative, is it seems like Tommy still isn't properly fit. Otherwise, I can't see why he would start Kivior instead. So there must be something there. And then maybe Zinchenko, he just felt, no, I just need the big men at the back, and he thought maybe Zinchenko maybe would be a bit more exposed. So I think, yeah, in hindsight, I think it was the wrong decision. I think he was a little bit out of his depth. He didn't do anything massively wrong, but there was a few moments like the second goal, so leading up to penalty, you just got to take him down. He was already 10 yards into his own half when he started to get turned. Just take him down there, take the yellow card. That's maybe where the experience come in. And the other thing is, does he really combine that great with Nelly? I'm not really seeing those two as a partnership. Like you get White and Saka, you can see them interchanging very well in the partnership. What does he offer from that perspective? So I think that, I think his limitations are being exposed, and now this is part again of his development. So he's gone from I'm not quite saying nowhere to being able to handle any team up to like the top 3 teams, and he's fine at left back there. But then when you get to this next level, City, Liverpool, and Bayern Munich, he's still got development to do. So, as I said, I'm not going to criticise the choice because I would have been happy with it, but it obviously showed up his limitations.
Yeah, it's a tough one because he played so well against Liverpool as well, and you think that was a big game, so that was quite tough. I think in terms of Tomiyasu, it is a worry because you would have thought he'd be fit by now and he'd be ready to play 90, but whether Arteta is just trying to potentially keep the team as similar as possible just now, towards the run-in, and think if I make too many changes, will that then upset the flow of how we play? But I fully agree with your point about, Kivior and Martinelli just don't link up the same as we do on the right. And it's, I guess, in a sense, it's unfair for us to maybe comment on Martinelli's performance because he wasn't really in the game or wasn't involved, but was that a direct result of how much Kivior was struggling yesterday, essentially? I would say so. He hugs the touchline. He requires space to run into. So there's a couple of things, when we play with Kivior, then we are very much more right side biased. So you see Odegaard, White, Saka. That's where we attack mostly, and we sort of then have those other 3 centre backs playing a bit more central, sort of huddling across, and so therefore trying to find Nelly isn't so easy. But then also Bayern didn't offer us any space behind. They didn't give him anything there to run into. So I don't think Nelly had a bad game, but he requires space. He requires somewhere to run into, and we just didn't get that. Bayern was standing off us, and so it's hard for him to do that. He had a couple of moments, and he's different to Jesus. Jesus is a bit more of a chaos merchant. He roams around all over the place. So if he plays on the left, he doesn't hug the touchline as such, and he doesn't require all that space. A bit like for the goal, you can see surrounded by 2-3 players, he can still create something. So I mean, again, I wasn't upset that he was part of the team. You can understand the logic. Just Bayern are a good team, and they nullified that threat. So, but as you alluded to, right, spotted by Arteta, gave it a chance, didn't work. Get Jesus on, and isn't it great that we've got that option? And if it was the other way around, again, very good. Jesus starts, maybe something doesn't happen, Nelly comes on, and we've shown Nelly can make a difference coming on as a sub as well. So you make your choice, and then it's just how then you evolve throughout the game if it doesn't work out. Both choices are ample, players to come off the bench and make a change. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy that Arteta realised his, what he needed to do as well. We've got a question coming from Alex in the Grove. He just said, hey guys, I'm sure you've got this on the list anyway. I'd love to hear some left back discussion. Do you think last night is the end of Kivior's run in the big games, at least for now? And if so, who's your number one going forward? So the tough one, because like I just mentioned earlier on, you don't want to knock Kivior's confidence too much, right? Because a lot of players really, really struggle with that. If they get hooked to half time, it'll play on their head, and then they make another, silly mistake in another game, and then it kind of snowballs from there. So we have to be really careful. I would imagine Kivior starts on the weekend. I really do. I don't see Zinchenko starting against Villa. I don't know why. I just have it in my head that Kivior starts. Just Arteta will place faith in him. The one thing I would say though is, if Alex is referring to anyone that's fit or not, for me, Timber has to be our number one personal left back. I really do believe that. I think Ben White's not able to be dropped because of his form. And I really think Timber, from what we've seen for the 1.5 games that he played, and it's, as the old saying goes, he's going to be like a new signing. But yeah, I would much rather see Timber there. He's, I just think he would do a job for us in that position.
I think, look, for this season, it's not going to happen. So for me, Kivior is our third choice left back. And he's played because injuries, Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, and during that time he evolved and he did well, but he's reached his limit. I don't see him starting at the weekend. I would suggest either Zinchenko to have that control, because again, Arteta maybe wants to, again, you defend. If you've got the ball and you're attacking, then that's the best form of defense. Attack is the best form of defense, and we should have three centre backs that should control it. Because also the other thing is, I don't see Jorginho starting either at the weekend, so I think he would provide that sort of quarterback role that do that. Be the person with the ball at the base of the midfield, passing it around. So I don't see him starting. And the other thing, if Tommy eventually is fit, then he would start over Kivior. So I don't think it's a case of Kivior losing confidence. He said, look, you've had a great run. You've still got a long way to go to learn. And he knows his place in the team. So I think that's it. And then I do still think in the summer we need to buy a left back, another left back.
I'm guessing you're not the first person that said that in the last day or so. There was chat yesterday outside the Horatia. We need to also discuss the Horatia. I'm sure Sasha will be listening to this laughing, but we really have to do on that topic at the end of this podcast.
Where does Horatia play? Up front, centre back?
She plays up front for Arsenal women.
Okay, but because yes, White is our number one right back, but we're always relying on him, and you can't have that. So Timber as well could offer that. Supplementary again. We need to have, a bit like City did, 2 starters in every position, and that's how top quality teams go. If you've got 2 stars in each position, you can rotate. You've got options off the bench. You have a very, very, very strong team, and you see what happens throughout the year, injuries and so on. Some players don't ever get injured, and it's great. And White seems to just run through brick walls for Arsenal, but then also Timber can play left, can play right. I think maybe he plays in the middle. But I think we need another proper left back, because Tomiyasu's maybe more cover for the centre. Zinchenko, are we evolving past him, or he's another option but different? I would suggest we need to. It's a position we need to look at and a proper left back, not just another development option. And
I was looking at that game, watching Alphonso Davies very closely yesterday, and I was heavily disappointed. I thought he would have been a standout on that left side, but it was Serge Gnabry that was the standout one on the left. What a talent he is, and Jamal Musiala as well. Bayern Munich, I think, as fans, Fraser had mentioned this earlier on the sleeper train on the way back up this morning. Fraser mentioned that as fans, as the Grove, as Arsenal fans in general, I think we underestimated Bayern Munich. I think we didn't think they would be as prepared, I would say, as what they were. So yeah, it's a tough.
I don't know. I don't know if we underestimated it. I think had we played at our best, we didn't play at our best. I think we're still the better team. We made mistakes. So I think we talked about it on the pod. We said, look, yeah, okay, they're still a very good team. They're front line. Maybe we're hoping some of the injuries wouldn't be recovered and things like that. But I still think we're the better overall team. We just didn't show it on the night. For me,
and it was two really. Let's just talk about the two goals we conceded, right? Since we're there, so stupid goals to give away. The first one, I mean, what are we doing with David Raya coming out? And it's crazy because it was one of those moments where you see that meme that goes around the internet now, moments before disaster, and you see David Raya out of position, almost in the kind of no man's land area between the box and the centre circle. And I kind of thought, I said to the guy next to me, I said, David Raya is playing really advanced today, and he doesn't normally do that. He honestly doesn't. And it was similar to what Onana did for Man U against Liverpool on the weekend. Onana was playing really, really far forward, and I was wondering what is going on there. And all it, for me, I was a perfect view of it. And for me, what I think what had happened, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think essentially Gabriel had the ball, tried to pass back to Raya, looked and thought, oh crap, he's not there. Thought, okay, I need to then now get rid because David Raya's not on his line. I can't pass it back. And then essentially he's made a really poor pass, turnover of possession, and suddenly Gnabry's in. Ben White, could he have done anything differently when he was tracking him back? Potentially, but I don't think the blame lies with him. I think the blame lies with Raya and Gabriel 50-50, to be honest. Gabriel should have just cleared his lines and really put his foot through it, potentially. And David Raya, get back a little bit. This is Bayern Munich. It's not Brighton, or it's not Luton. So
yeah. No, I so where are you going? What are you doing? He again. This is where I think you touched it. The emotional part came in, and just that the occasion, and maybe trying to be a bit too eager and things like that. So you're right. Yeah, he was out of position. He was out. It wasn't any one major error. It was just a couple of micro errors that then we got punished to the max to, that each could have all been, all could have been at one stage sort of like, fixed. And so like, okay, big Gabby running back towards his own goal. Who do I pass to? Fuck it, just clear it, get rid, Rose, whatever, start again. But that's not how we play. I think he passed it to Kivior. Kivio's sort of not ready for it, so then he has a bad touch, and so it's just like a catalogue of small things that leads to a goal. And I think this is where some of the emotion came into it, because there was something else early on that Ray had the ball and he got rid of it really quickly in a whole crowd of players, and I thought, wow, are you putting your player into trouble here? So this is where that bit of that experience, a bit of calmness, maybe, it comes into play, and then. Yeah, and then the favorite shot through the legs, bit of luck there, but it was just sloppy, and it's so unlike what we've done, so unlike us as a tool, because throughout 2024 we've been calm, assured, and so on. So this is, I think, where the emotion, came into play, in terms of why that goal came about.
You wrote in the podcast notes before we recorded, I was reading, I was pretty much, you've hit the nail on the head with how Bayern played. Their attacking threat was just outstanding. They played a masterclass in how to deal with our two centre-backs, and also how to deal with the team in general. The word I would describe it as, I don't know if you wrote this, maybe I read it on your notes, but we were suffocated by them.
Yeah.
We were suffocated by Bayern. They dropped deep. And you could see Gabriel and Saliba both trying to get on to Harry Kane. And then on the wings, they were just outstanding. It was scary watching them how quick they could move from their half into our half. And by the way, fair play to Eric Dyer and Matthias de Ligt as well, because the pre-match in the Horatio, we were all loving it, the fact that Eric Dyer was playing, but apart from a few wayward passes, which you'd expect when 60,000 people are booing you, he was pretty solid. You know, he did his job. He didn't make any real mistake. And as Alistair mentioned before, he said he was delighted delighted to be starting, and no pun intended. But you know, it was it was a really assured performance by him as well. They kept us quiet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they kept Havertz quiet. Anything in the air, they're big guys, strong. It doesn't take a lot of skill. You know, you just use your body, use your head, and get it. So they sort of crowded Havertz out. Havertz didn't have much of a chance. Yeah, and as soon as Dyer had the ball at his feet, terrible. You could just see that every time. He had no idea what to do with it, and so on. So, and you can see when Jesus came on, someone a bit trickier, someone a bit more nimble, he caused them trouble, and they didn't. That's what they didn't like. So you're right. Yeah. I think, like I said, Bayern set up very, very well against us. They said they drew our centre backs in, so we followed Kane wherever he went. The thing is, then that leaves a lot of space behind the centre backs, and then Kane would get the ball, drop it back, and then you'd have a load of space, and then that's where the wingers would come into play. So what you even saw it with, we really tried to go man-to-man press on that one. So, and centre backs do not. The one thing they don't do is they hate running back towards their goal, and they kept on doing that to us. So they set that up really well. And then in terms of when we were attacking, Saliba, Gabriel, yeah, you can have the ball. And actually, Saliba was very good. He would sometimes run with the ball and end up on the edge of the box. Well, yeah, they'd let him have it. They would let the centre backs, our centre backs, have the ball because well, they're no threat. But as soon as it got into Odegaard, surrounded it. As soon as Saka, 2 on him, and rotational fouling on Saka, you know, and they handled that well. I thought as soon as Davis got booked, I thought, oh, there's an opportunity there. Fine, Davis didn't lay another tackle on him, but every other bastard did, and no yellow card there afterwards, and he was getting hit. So tactically, they sussed us out, and we had to face something that we weren't really used to or had to deal with. And unfortunately, during that time, they got 2 goals as a result because they had their pace, their electric pace. It was like, wow, yeah, you're right. I've not seen that in a long time in the flesh, you know. And you know, you see it on TV, you don't notice it so much, but there in the ground, it's like, blimey, they've just gone from nowhere to the edge of our box, just like that. So kudos to Bayern, and unfortunately kudos to Kane because he had a good game.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
He did, and it almost looked slow motion when you watch the replay of the match, but in real life it was just so quick, and that's when we could see the second goal. So Sané ran from pretty much halfway line into our box. There was at least 3 very good chances to bring him down. Kivior had the first one kind of 10 yards in, didn't he? And you know, take a foul and
do a Thomas Partey. Just do what Thomas Partey did. Just kick him. Just kick him. Who cares?
I was going to mention the Thomas Partey incident, and yeah, that's what you mentioned earlier on in this pod, Tabs, that's the experience that Thomas Partey potentially has to know when to do a foul like that, whereas Kivior doesn't. So yeah, it was a shame. The penalty you're given, I'm putting blame on Saliba for it, though. I think it's a really reckless sticking out of the leg, and you know, any contact with a player there, anything at all, it's a penalty.
Well, I don't know. The 94th minute might beg to differ with that one, but we'll come to that.
So, but I'm looking forward to that part. I don't know your opinion on that yet, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, and in terms of the penalty itself, Harry Kane just doing what Harry Kane does against Arsenal, and I think I'm sure I put in the title of the last episode, you know, Harry Kane worries, and you know, we all kind of thought he would score, and he did. So
it was inevitable from the moment Bayern was drawn against us that Harry Kane would get a penalty against us, and you know, on Saliba, I rewatched it, and it's weird because he turned the wrong way and then back, and then so he seemed to panic, and again, this was maybe some of his inexperience. I mean, he's a brilliant defender; he's been fantastic. So I'm not going to criticize him as a whole, but on this one occasion, again, I don't know, he seemed to lose his bearings. It was weird, and then
he almost like a degree.
And so they. Yeah, and then he lost his bearings, stuck a leg out. I guess you have to, otherwise, you know, he's clean through anyway. So it was just weird. And yeah, again, a few errors, could have done better. And then Raya was weird. He went so early.
Yeah, like noticeably early. Whenever commentators say, "Oh, the keeper's dived early," you think, okay, yeah, it's like a split second early, right? But this was noticeably earlier. This was like, Harry Kane hadn't even kind of
motion to kick.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
exactly. it was the softest roll of it. It was like, maybe he was trying to confuse him or something, because he's not the sharpest tool in the box, but
no.
Or he doesn't look it anyway. But that was odd that he went, because I know he went early on the penalties against Porto, and that's fine. But this was just maybe just one step too early.
Well, he said that he did his research, didn't he, after the Porto penalty? So you know what? It's two goals from really avoidable mistakes that we could have done without, and the game could have been so different, because obviously, as we know, Bukayo Saka scored first for Arsenal, and at that point I'm thinking to myself, okay, here we go, the floodgates are going to open, we're going to get a second, potentially a third, and the Emirates will be raucous, half-time come and go, we'll sit with our 3-0 lead and we'll be happy with that, so, and it wasn't to be, but great finish. Almost like pinball, I feel, in the that kind of right hand side area, and Saka almost got lucky, in inverted commas, I would say, that the ball kind of fell to, it was a Ben White assist, wasn't it? So like pinball, Ben White, the ball got loose to Ben White, and then Saka, there was nothing lucky about his finish at all. It was brilliant. The one thing I would say is I can't remember who it was, the Bayern player who tried to stick out a leg and block the shot. They did really, really poorly.
It was Dyer. Actually, I actually said it made Saka's mind up for him, because he created, it was Dyer, and he created a perfect sort of barrier for Saka to go around into the far post and annoy it. Looking at it, it was just like, oh great, yes, I need that there to give me an option. Whereas if he's got an open goal, but just the goalkeeper to be in front of him, it's not so easy. Whereas that, he just created that, gave him that time to curl it around. So I looked at that. Yeah, it was
I was talking about the person to his Saka's left, not the person in front of him. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that bit.
I want to potentially say it was, I don't know. I want to say Goretzka, I think it was. And what was interesting was he kind of stuck out it's hard to explain, but he stuck out a leg to try blocking the shot, and it was kind of a lazy leg, and Saka did well to kind of keep it low enough to go under the leg of Goretzka.
Oh yeah, no, I've just seen it now. Yeah, I think it was Goretzka. Yeah, he sort of hit it between the two. I just sort of watching it now. He sort of, Dyer provided the shield, and Goretzka, he was too far away. He couldn't get any closer than he did. So it was
great finish.
Oh, beautiful. And the celebrations, limbs, as they say. But that was amazing. And you're right. We did all right. 1-0, 13 minutes gone. Right, here we go. And then there was that sliding doors moment. Ben White, again, not going to criticize any of our players, but you just have that, 2-0. It was the wrong player in the right place, and he just hit it straight at Neuer. Either side of him.
But Ben White is paid, 5.
It doesn't. I know they're paid. I don't subscribe to that they're paid. Therefore, they're robots, and therefore they should.
But not that. Yeah, but
he should do better. Yeah, I agree. He should do better. You just wish it was someone like Martinelli or Jesus. Well, I don't know.
Oh no,
Saka. I was singing Nelly because I was watching Nelly in the warm up. Oh my God, he was just on fire in the warm up.
I can't believe the warm up. So happy you noticed that. I was going to mention that later on in the pod, the warm up, and he was just putting them top left, top right, he was bottom left, bottom right, and everyone else was shooting, and they were going in through past the net behind the goals and into the North Bank. So. Yeah,
Martinelli was good, but that was he should have done better. I said I'm not going to criticize him in that instance. He should have done better. And that was our sliding doors moment. You go 2-0, and the other stuff doesn't happen.
Yeah, and just hit it to Neuer's right because the amount of speed he had there. But you know what? It's fine because I can now be at peace with the fact knowing that Ben White saved us from going.
Wow.
So
yes.
Yeah, he at the same time he should have scored to make it 2-1, but he also saved us from potentially, we don't know for sure, but you'd like to think Sané would have would have scored that 1-on-1.
Yeah.
But what a recovery. I think he had to run past 2 Arsenal players.
Yes, he did. I think Odegaard, it was amazing. Odegaard was the last man, and I think Justin did enough to keep Sane sort of occupied and not have a free run. And then Ben White came charging back. I think what helped Sane, I think, came back onto his right foot, and because he was doing that, had to slow down a bit. It didn't. I think if he'd carried on going his left, he would have had a free shot because he tried to come in. And I don't think he was expecting Ben White to suddenly storm in. So
no, I don't think he was expecting Ben White to come back. And I don't think he was expecting Ben White to come on that side.
Yeah,
he came in the side that you would least be expecting him. So it was really good, really good reading. And then we've talked about the 3 goals. So we might as well talk about the 4th before I've got a few incidents that I want to mention afterwards as well. But the goal. I mean, I'm not negative at all. Do you know what? I'm at peace with the result. I really am at peace with the result.
Go on then. Because we hadn't said it. How do you feel about the result? What's your sense? So, now, not last night. Now, how are you? Well, you said you're at peace, but what's your take?
Afterwards, Fraser and we had an hour-long walk to Euston, and we were really angry, but not at the players of the team, but more at the referee and VAR, essentially, because nothing was getting checked. No monitors were the referee never went to the monitor. And I said to you earlier on today, actually, I said the referee has only 6 Champions League games in his career. And I don't think he's ever refereed anything past the quarterfinals in his career. He's Swedish. The biggest game he'll have to referee is Djurgårdens against Malmo or someone. So I'm not sure if that's a huge game. But really, you think that, in a game like this, do you not get the top European? Surely get a top European referee. It's not as if there's 12, 15 games a week. There's only 2. Yesterday. So that was that. But in terms of, I'm not being negative when I say this, but it's just so funny that Gabriel Jesus done a Gabriel Jesus when he could have had a shot. He took it left and then right and then passed it. It was one of those moments where I thought, oh my God, he's still not able to shoot. Like, I feel like he's got a deformity in his right foot now that just he can't lift it to put any power through it. I'm just glad we scored, because if we didn't, I can guarantee you Arsenal fans would have been on Jesus' back for a long time.
Well, what I heard about that, actually, Trossard gave him a shout. So I saw the sort of interview with Trossard or read. He said like he saw it and he shouted, "Jesus, I'm free," or whatever. So that's why Jesus passed at that point. And I think we alluded to it. It came on. He offered something different. He was a bundle of energy. He's got a great record in Champions League, and he made us better. And it was a lovely setup. Run into the box, past a couple of players, and then a lovely finish. And Trossard, he's clutch in those moments. He's been so important for us, as an impact sub or scoring great goals. He scored the goal against Porto, scored this one. He's I think he's one of our best finishers, and he's what an option he is to have coming on to so I think the team improved when him and Jesus came on. Oh well, we played differently. We went for a bit. I think in terms we it was a case of we have to get something out of this, even a draw. But I think we still set ourselves up well enough with those 2 subs to not leave ourselves too exposed, because Havertz in midfield is still good and still offers us defensively. So, and again, then you think, okay, 2-2. I was thinking your prediction 4-2. I think, oh my God, is Mos going to somehow get this absolutely spot on? And yes. Should we get to it? Should we get to the penalty? Should we get to what should have made it, given us a chance to go 3-2?
I should have had the full block of cheese. Half the block of cheese. The dream maybe would have come true. But let's just talk about all the incidents, and we'll start with the penalty for Arsenal, right? So, first off, do you want to start with the Bayern penalty first?
The one that wasn't given.
Of course.
I read something today. apparently the referee said that it was just a child's mistake and he's not going to punish us for that, because I think there were subs taken at the time. There was a bit of confusion. It's a bit chilly. Bayern, that's a penalty. I think it was just, didn't hit a whistle, whatever. So yes, by the letter of the law, he could have potentially given a penalty for Gabriel picking it up, but he knows he's not doing it deliberately. It's not like it's a, it's a goal kick or something. But that's why they throw the ball to the player when they do that. Okay, the centre back's going to take the goal kick, so throw it to him, so you don't have that confusion about, well, I'll place it with my hand. So I think, yeah, I mean, it would have been ridiculously given. So
the thing is, you have to realize, right? A lot of people will think, yeah, that's a penalty by the letter of the law, and you have to realize that, number one, there were no Bayern players around, so there was no potential anything to gain, and number two, we never gained anything from it ourselves. We didn't gain anything. We didn't deceive the referee or the rules to gain an advantage. So yeah, I think it was stupid on David Raya's part. I don't remember it during the game. I remember the players kind of swarming the referee and complaining about it.
Yeah, I missed that. I didn't see that. I've only noticed it afterwards. But yeah.
And I only realised it was a big issue when Thomas Tuchel came out and started running his mouth and should have been really talking about the other penalty on the other side that could have or should have been for Arsenal. So without knowing your opinion, I'll give you mine, and then we can see if Tabs finally agrees with me on this pod. I don't think it was a penalty. I did at the time, and I really was angry, and I was booing the ref off, and I was giving him abuse and whatnot. And I've watched it back copious amounts of times. Whether it's a case of, I don't know if it's a penalty or if I'm a little bit annoyed that Saka just doesn't shoot first time or just try to kind of jump over Neuer's leg or feint, don't leave your leg in to try winning a penalty, just shoot instead. That seems to be the general consensus, what I'm reading online as well from Arsenal fans through either social media or the group chats that I'm in. So I don't know. I feel a bit weird about it, to be honest, because I feel like there was a couple of times in the game where VAR should have been used, and we'll talk about one of them in a sec with the Harry Kane incident and Gabriel. But I also seem to remember there was one on Havertz in the penalty box, and the referee said no penalty. And there was two occasions there, or maybe it was Odegaard, but there was two occasions there for the Saka one at the end and Havertz/Odegaard. If it's not a penalty, why wouldn't you be booking the player for diving?
Well, not every tackle in the box is a penalty or a dive. So that's sometimes why it's not enough to go down, but you can see why they go down. I think it's neither either or.
I don't know how many times you've watched the Saka incident at the end. I watched it.
Too many. Okay. Well, there you go. That sums it up perfectly. The fact that I've watched it countless amount of times on countless angles, and I change my mind every time. So therefore, it goes to show it wasn't clear cut, and therefore you can understand why the decision was not given. However, you've seen those given all the time. You're surprised. I think what it is, we're surprised it wasn't given a penalty, and then we decide whether it's soft or not. So I think it's not clear cut. I mean, look, Saka has no obligation to get his leg out of the way when Neuer comes out and sticks it there. So it's not he has to make it. But I think he makes a slight movement. But then again, he's going at full pace, and you don't know where his body movement's going. So I think there's an element of him looking for it, but that doesn't mean contact wasn't made and didn't bring him down. I mean, you saw the Liverpool penalty against Man United. He just put his foot between his legs and fell over. That was given, and this isn't that much different to that. So I'm very on the side that I think it was a penalty, but I'm also frustrated that I think, was there the chance for Saka to stay on his feet and just slot the ball in, because the goal was empty? I think there were players coming back, but I think there would have been enough there to do it. So I'm maybe a bit more frustrated with that than the fact that he went down and it wasn't given. But I said, because it's so 50-50, I think we're just frustrated it wasn't given as opposed to it was or wasn't a penalty.
The tough thing about it is that I always think about the what ifs. It's crazy because 5 minutes before that incident happened, kind of after Bayern hit the post towards the death, right? I was just thinking to myself, I said, please God, just let us score one more last minute winner this season and I'll be happy.
I was saying, take the 2-2, take the 2-2. I don't care. That's just something I can't.
The roof would have come off the roof.
Oh man,
would have come off the
yeah. If we'd have scored then in the night, that would have been just.
And I honestly think that is a pivotal moment. Scoring that would have, honestly, I believe we would have then gone on to beat Villa comfortably, beat Bayern comfortably, and the players would have got such a buzz. But
yeah,
I just worry. I don't think it'll do the opposite, but I just worry that is that a perfect chance? Yeah, and I'm echoing your comments where should Saka, instead of taking that first touch, take it past Neuer, just do what he did for the first goal and kind of whip it around the defender who was there at the back. That's the trickiest thing for me is that. But look, at the end of the day, it all happened so fast. Saka was not expecting that pass. It was a mistake, wasn't it? It was like
No, it was a party. No, it was a lovely pass by Partey. I think.
What I mean, sorry, is that I think it was a turnover possession to Partey, who then Saka. So I don't think they were expecting it as quick as that. I know he's a professional footballer and things, but it was tough. But look, at the end of the day, we're remaining positive because we have come into a quarter final with Bayern Munich and we haven't lost the game, and we showed great courage and emotions in the second half to come back into the game from being 2-1 down. I just want to mention other incidents and ask your opinion on that if possible. The first one is the Harry Kane elbow on Gabriel, which for me every single day of the week is a red card. And the reason why apparently VAR never checked it is because they don't overturn yellows in the Champions League or something. Is that right? Is that true?
I don't know.
That's what's been said in the group chat today. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but apparently VAR don't check yellows or something like that. So I'm just reading the thing now. So Alistair just said, just seen the Kane elbow apparently wasn't VAR checked as the ref booked him. I won't say the next two words that Alistair used in his message. And Danish put down only in 2 messages as well, by the way, I must say, Danish. So you're doing better. He said that would imply that no yellow can ever be turned into a red if they don't check a booking. So if that's the case, they're really behind the times. Premier League, that gets given as a... Well, I say Premier League, that gets given as a red, but I seen on Twitter this morning a montage of Harry Kane, similar incident.
Oh, he does it all the time.
Well, one of them is on Gabriel. So, and look, anywhere else apart from his kind of neck/fin area, if that's in his eye, that could result in a fractured eye socket or anything.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kane does this all the time. He's a snidey bastard, just because because he's English and he's England's captain. And I know this doesn't apply in Germany, but he gets in the Prem he got away with so much shit. That the one thing that I hate that is so dangerous, the way he would shove his ass into players when they're jumping in the air and they land badly. That was one of his, and he got away with it and that is really dangerous. And he'd get away with it all the time. And he does this all the time. He turns around, he looks, he knows where Gabriel is. I think what the reason why he gets away with it is because it's more of an arm than an elbow. So it's not directly like that pull and bang right at the point of the elbow going in. So I think that's it. And also because it's around the neck rather than around the face, it's enough there to give the referee mitigating circumstances. Not that I agree with it, because if you look at it in slow-mo, that's a deliberate act and that's a deliberate violent play. But if the rules are then it was seen and it was given a yellow, then you can see why it didn't turn it to red. It doesn't make it right, but that's that. So I can see why it wasn't given. Doesn't mean it right. And he does it all the time and he gets away with it. He's a snidey bastard.
I guess potentially was the referee out of his depth. I was looking at the referee stats earlier on today. The referee that I mentioned that we had was obviously Swedish, and I just wonder if lack of experience in the Champions League could have, was it potentially?
I always say you've got to try and take the referee out of the equation. yes, we rely on them to get decisions, and we've had decisions go away, we've had them against us. It's down to us to play, so we take that out of the equation. So those decisions aren't impactful and things like that. It's not always the case. It's a hard one, and they've got to learn somewhere. I'm not excusing him, but at some time you've got to do your first quarter final. Is it after 6 Champions League game? That seems a bit early. Don't know. But he's not the reason why we ended up with a 2-2 draw. Yeah, no. There could have been some decisions, but he's not the reason. We need to look at ourselves, mistakes we made, and focus on that, because you can't focus on the referee. I mean, at least he didn't book Havertz and Rice, so we've got them for the second leg. So that was a big concern.
They're missing Alphonso Davies, which is
yeah.
So, but it was interesting. I was looking at the referee stats in detail. He's actually managed, he's refereed a game of Arsenal's before. He refereed the Arsenal-Sevilla game earlier on in the season. So that was interesting. He's also refereed a Bayern Munich game, and that was when Bayern won 4-3 against Man U in the group stages. So he has refereed, kind of big teams before. But then after that, I mean, it's telling that on the list is AEK Athens and Kazakhstan, the teams he's refereed. So it was interesting just to see.
But then there was the ref against Porto. I think it was at home. He's had loads of experience, and we thought it was pants, and he's booked everyone, and he didn't punish Porto and stuff like that. So even the ones that are experienced, can be annoying and idiots as well. So it's there's no you remember I said, take the referee out of the equation, and it becomes a moot point. I think we're just talking about it because we're frustrated. Could have gone our way, could have been different, if only, should, all that stuff. Shoulda, woulda, coulda type stuff. Exactly. So we are where we are. And what's the other incident? I'm not sure. You were saying there was another incident, but I'm not.
The other incident, you put me on the spot, Tabs. The other incident was... So there was obviously the Kane elbow, there was the Bayern penalty shout, there was our penalty shout, and there was...
I think that was it.
Yeah, it must be. Maybe I was thinking about the Havertz/Odegaard penalty thing that we never went to the monitor to check.
Oh, yeah, no, the Havertz one, I think Havertz was looking for that. It was sort of in front of me going...
It was not enough to... Actually, it was, because I remember right next to me, if that's not a dive by Havertz, that's not a good sign. You need to stop throwing yourself to the floor.
Yeah, Havertz, it was desperation, not quite desperation time, but 2-1 down. Yeah, that was, for me, he's looking for that. So he was lucky not to get booked. But I don't think you get booked so much in Champions League for that sort of thing, whereas I think maybe in the Premier he would have got booked. So, he's got that in his locker. It's not great. But I mean, if we've got the penalty, I wouldn't complain. But it didn't look like it wasn't a penalty as far as I was concerned.
So predictions for this game, I think did I say 4-2?
4-1.
Did I say 4-1? I thought I'd said 4-2.
Yeah, I think actually you did say 4-2. Yeah, and I was thinking, it's coming.
When I went 2-1, I was thinking, right, 3 more goals here, and that's 2 predictions I've got right this season. I think from next season, what we're going to do is every guest on the pod will do like a league table of who gets the correct prediction for the game and the score and scorers and things.
Yeah.
But no one predicted 2-2. You were close with a 2-1. Hopefully that was to Arsenal. But I don't feel like I would have expected even a draw, to be honest, before the game kicked off, and especially after Saka scored. I didn't think we would end up drawing that game. But what does it mean for the second leg then? And also, we can also do like a kind of mini part 2 and talk about Villa as well, and what it means for the game against Villa and the wider scope of the Premier League. So the good news is that it's 0-0 again, and there's no away goals. The bad news is I've seen a video on Twitter of what happens before Bayern kick off. And if you think North London forever is good, wait till you see this video of the guy screaming Bayern as loud as he can. And the fans, it gave me goosebumps, Tabs. And I wonder if the Arsenal players know what to expect, because that is going to be a cauldron especially when you know the Bayern Munich fans are that crazy that they will set off fireworks during the first half of the game. So outside the Emirates. But yeah, we look at the end of the day, you're voted there. If we don't lose, we have a really, really good chance of going through. I also agree with you when you say we can play much better. I really do. I think it's a good thing yesterday that the 2 goals that we conceded were kind of mistakes, because they're not going to be replicated. You would hope, touch wood, they're not going to be replicated again. You know, players will learn very quickly from that. So if we go out and play how we know we can, I could see us winning. The only thing I would question is the lineup. You know, you would have to put Zinchenko and Jesus in, surely, wouldn't you? And keep the rest the same. Don't know who you drop from. Do you put Zinchenko and Martinelli on one side and Saka and White on the other side, and then put Havertz into the middle to be that kind of ball winning, you know, win the duels in the midfield against kind of Musiala and Goretzka type players, as opposed to having him against big centre backs, have Gabriel and Jesus just to be a handful up top?
I mean, I don't know. Let's see what happens at Villa, what we get fit playing. Yeah, I think Jesus would start. I think it'll be very much a bit like City, but it'll be a case of, right, stay in the tie until 70 minutes, be in with a chance to win, even to get to extra time, whatever. You can lose it in the first half, you can lose it in the first 20. Yeah, so it'll be a bit like City. We don't have to go for it, and in a way, we have a bit of, I don't know, do we have clarity? Okay, obviously it's nicer to be in the lead, but this in a sense, it's a one-off. It's a cup final, whatever. It's a one-off game. Granted, it's away from home, but I think we're a very solid team away from home. We set up really well. I don't think the crowd will be an issue. So, and as I we can play better. We know that the mistakes have come because of our own suspect defending. We also know that they're vulnerable. They let in goals. We can score against them. So I think it's just a case of going there, be in the tie with 70 minutes to go. Don't give up anything stupid. And then we'll see. Well, then we see what happens. It's all square. It's only half time. We're in it, and that's why I'm not. So in terms of the result, I'm disappointed, frustrated, just the manner of it, but also pleased with how we responded, and we're still in it. And maybe Arsenal of old would have lost 3-1, would have tried to go for it too much, lost 3-1, 4-1, and then where we'd be. So the main thing was, okay, don't lose. We got back into it. We'll learn, as the saying goes, you either win or you learn, and we are very good at learning at the moment, and Arteta's good at learning, so we learn and we go again. So it's all to play for, and in a way, I think it's pleased that it's next week, so we don't dwell on it. We just get through Villa, and then we go again next Wednesday, and it's going to be exciting, and we see what happens. Look, how long did it take City to get through to semis, to get through to finals? We've learned from last year in the Prem, and look at us now. Maybe this is our learning year. And then we see what happens. So
we can't keep having too many learning years, so we need to.
No. But what I mean is learning in the Premier, in the Champions League.
Of course.
So this is this is the first experience for a lot of these guys. It's hard to take that emotion out of it. It is there. There's a lot of young players in there. Saliba's still young. We saw what happened to Kivior. So I'm not too despondent. I said, give ourselves a chance. And then we'll see what happens. We've given ourselves a chance. So that's where I am with that. That's why I'm disappointed, but also, we're still in it.
Yeah,
we still got a very good chance.
The next 3 weeks will shape our season fully. The next 3 weeks will be a huge part to play. One final question came in from Dylan, just on what we were talking about as well. So Dylan has asked, and thank you guys for sending in your questions. That I haven't had any more. I kind of asked quite last minute. So Dylan had asked that he'd love to hear us talk about how you set up the team for the second leg. So we kind of did touch on that very briefly, but he asked, do you take Kivior or Havertz out, and then does Trossard deserve a start? For me, the only change I would make is I would keep the backline the same, apart from obviously Zinchenko in for Kivior, and I would drop Havertz in to midfield for Jorginho. I know Jorginho was good, but I just feel like we need someone to be a bit of a kind of tall, ball-winning player in the midfield, especially against the likes of Musiala and Lamar and Goretzka, who They weren't great yesterday. Musiala was probably the best out of the three, but it was the wingers that really did a good job. Gain control in the midfield because we know they're going to have tons of space there. Put Gabriel Jesus up top, and then have Saka and Martinelli on each wing. I think Trossard's there as the impact sub. It's a shame because he's so good, but he's also extremely good off the bench when teams are tired. So that's my thoughts. I think, I would be surprised if Arteta does anything different. I'd be surprised if like a Thomas Partey started or anything like that. So yeah, that's what I would think. What do you thought?
No, I'm the same. Maybe Tommy over Kivior, but that's only if Tommy gets minutes at the weekend. To drop him in with very little, very little mileage in his legs, I'd be surprised. Otherwise, I'm pretty much the same. I like that idea. I think we need someone a bit more dynamic at the base of the midfield with Rice covering. Especially when you've got the rapid guys coming through, and say Havertz, and Havertz dropping into midfield and stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty the same. It's the left back. Not sure what happens. I will be happy either way. It's what can you do? You've got what you got. We have to make the best of it. And do we go there? Can we control the game? That's why I think Zinchenko's more of a home team player than away game, because we're playing away. We'll be on the back foot a bit more. I think it's more likely to be Tommy, and then you have Zinchenko there, in case that we need to come back into the game and be a bit more aggressive. So that would be the only other thing. Otherwise, I agree. Yeah,
on the Zinchenko topic, I know we speak about him a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
It was really interesting. I was watching him closely yesterday, and I reserved judgment, but there were a lot of times defensively where he looked like it was Kingsley Coman at one point, and he looked really. There was a few times where he looked lost. I think one time it was either Havertz or someone had to run back and cover for him. But attacking wise, once he got into the flow of the game, he wasn't that bad. Don't get me wrong, there were a few passes that he made that either went out of play or I think he was trying too hard almost. What it felt like.
Yeah, but I think the whole team were like that. I think the whole team felt that pressure and they were trying to force it a bit. And so he wasn't the only one doing it. There was a lot of, even Odegaard was doing that sometimes, Saka sometimes. So it wasn't unique to him. I think it was just the circumstances. And eventually once we calmed down a bit, especially at 2-2, it was better. Yes, we don't have an ideal option. we know that, so we have to make the best of what we've got. But I would have Tommy there if he's fit, just because he's away from home and the security, and then we have Zinchenko if we need to.
I'll be very surprised if we see Tommy play 90 minutes or even 75 minutes on Sunday, to then on Wednesday again.
Yeah, well that's why I think Zinchenko starts on. So if we move on to Villa. That's why I think Zinchenko starts against Villa.
Okay.
Because we're at home, we want to dominate, and yeah.
What are you looking forward to then and not looking forward to for Villa? What's your thoughts? It's a good... I'll go first this time, right? So I'm looking forward to the fact that it's a quick turnaround. Today's Wednesday, when it's next Sunday, when it's Sunday next, I should say, is our next game. And the good thing is, I was looking yesterday at the... I might go off on a wee tangent here for 2 minutes, Tabs. I hope you don't mind. I was looking at the league table and the fixtures and that kind of thing. And it's really interesting because the fixtures have it that obviously, so Man City play against Luton on Saturday. Liverpool play before us. So essentially, we could be back into third position, but then win against Villa, we'll be back top, right? By obviously a point, assuming other teams all win. And then we play against Wolves on the following Saturday away. And Liverpool don't play until the Sunday, so we could then technically be 4 points clear from Man City, 3 clear from Liverpool. Liverpool could potentially drop points against Fulham, but if not, that's fine, because we play Chelsea before Man City even play a game again. And so then we could potentially be 7 points clear of Man City, albeit we have 2 games in hand. But that's a huge psychological factor. They think 7 points is a big gap to attain. And my point with this is, by the 31st of April, or the 30th of April, what am I saying, 31st? This is how tired. Don't get a sleeper train, people. Yeah, the 31st of April, which is also known as the 1st of May in most places. It's so embarrassing. Um, by the 1st of May, or the 30th of April, I should say, Liverpool will have played their 3 tough away games. Man City will be playing catch up because they play Brighton on like a random Thursday, and then they have to fit the Spurs game in. So they're always going to be, 4 points, assuming we all win our games, always going to be 4 points clear of them. Liverpool have their tough 3 away games. We've got our game against Spurs. So by the end of April, I will be able to tell you who will win the Premier League, and also potentially the Champions League.
It sounds like you're saying in the next 7 games, I'll be able to tell you who wins the league.
So I can guarantee, put your house on. I'll tell you on the 20th of May who wins the Premier League. 100%.
I'm not following any of your bets. I'm beating you.
But no, what I mean by that though is, by the time it comes to Spurs away, that could be a crunch game for us. So
it's a crunch.
I went off on a massive tangent there because it's what I'm looking forward to. Essentially, long story short, is the games are coming thick and fast, and it's going to be great to be back at the Emirates. But I'm also looking forward to being in my old season ticket seat as well for the first time in a long time. So that'll be quite nice, quite good memories in that seat. What I'm not looking forward to in the upcoming fixture is the players, how they will react after yesterday's draw. It felt like, yes, we snatched a draw. We scored last, so it was kind of like a good motivational feeling. However, what I would say as well is on the flip side, does it play into their mind that they were 1-0 up, then went 2-1 down, and they made mistakes? I don't think so. I think they've probably got psychologists and whatnot, and people to kind of chat about things like that with. But I'm just worried there's no hangover. I don't think there will be though, because of the fact that we were also at home and things. So it should be okay. What about yourself?
Yeah, other than meeting up with you and the gang from the.
Are you coming for lunch? Are you coming with that?
I know I can't make lunch, but I'll be there for a drink or two.
Don't say you're looking forward to meeting up with you, as in to me and the others, because I got excited and thought you were coming for lunch.
No, I can't. I just timing wise, I can't do that. But I'll definitely be up there for a drink. So looking forward to that. But no, looking forward to seeing Emery back at the Emirates, and just seeing his brand of open play football that we can exploit and so on. And we owe Villa from the away game where we should have got something from. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to us taking advantage of what Emery can offer us in terms of opportunities and space. And so on, and in terms of not looking forward to, hopefully I think there'll be changes. So it's just, hopefully those changes don't impact us too much. I don't think it'll be as much as Luton, but the likes of Saka was doing his normal, hobbling around the place at the end of a game. I doubt he'll start. So well, I don't know. Who knows? I can never tell with him, because he looks like he's going to have his leg amputated one minute, and then the next minute he's playing like a demon. So who knows? But he looked like he was hobbling a lot. Well, but then again, the way he ran after the referee after the final whistle when he eventually got up shows that maybe he wasn't too bad. But yeah, so I'm not. Just not looking forward to if we have a changed team. And whether Villa can exploit that, hopefully not. So we'll see. I'm confident we should win, should be staying top of the league. But let's not take it for granted.
No, and the only worry I've got is the other 2 teams will play before us, so we'll know what we need to do. That's the only issue. Maybe it's good, I guess, because there's less pressure on us. That we don't have to worry about being at the top and just chasing, which is what we've been good at doing for the last few while. I don't want to spend too long talking about Villa preview, if I'm being honest with you, because we all know what we need to do, and we know their form. So, as you
mean, they're not in great shape at the moment. Was it in the last 5 games they've only won 1, and that was at home 2-0 to Wolves, but they've let in 4 against City away. They let in 4 against the Spuds at home. They drew 3-3 at Brentford. So they've let in 12 goals in the last 5 games and only scored 7. So, and they've got a Europa Conference game on Thursday. No Douglas Luiz, so he can safe on the corners. It's Emery ball. The only threat really is Watkins. He's the number 1 guy. He's the one that if you nullify him, I think you nullify Villa. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, don't forget Aston Villa play tomorrow in the Conference League as well. So that's a
But,
that's. Did you mention that? Did you say that?
yeah, they're playing at home against Lille. Yeah, in the
I don't know,
conference.
I don't know if you said that or not. I was listening, I promise.
Yeah.
The one thing for us is that obviously they're missing Douglas Luiz, who's suspended. They're missing Matty Cash. I believe they're missing that Jacob Ramsey. They're missing Emi Buendia, Kamara, Courtney House. So they're missing a lot of players, which is good for us. Not good for my fantasy team with Douglas Luiz isn't playing. Not that I would have put him in against Arsenal anyway, obviously. But it's a tough one to predict. I mean, what is your score prediction for the game? You had any similar cheese dreams? You should try it. It's quite fun. So why?
No, I know. I'm confident. Again, what happened against Bayern? Bayern are a bloody good side. Okay, so this isn't Bayern we're playing. We are a bloody good team. It's an anomaly. It's not what we used to. It can be rectified. I think it's a one-off is too hard because we're going to come against difficult teams. We are going to make mistakes, but that's fine. Back to the Premier League. I think it's a chance to rectify. I think there will be changes, and therefore maybe not as fluid. But I think I still see 3-0 because I think Villa will give us opportunities. I say 3-0, 3-1. But yeah, I think we'll be good.
I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. I think it'll be a cagey game. I think they'll score. I don't know when, but I think they'll score. I think Ollie Watkins will score. But yeah, I think we'll just about have enough. Looking forward to it though. I'm doing a day trip, but I'm coming down early on in the morning, so I'll be around if anyone is listening to this and wants to go for lunch. And the last thing for me to say is about the Horatia. We need to discuss this for 5 minutes if possible.
Okay. What's the problem with the Horatia?
I believe we have to look at elsewhere for the Grove meetups and things. And look, anyone who listens to the podcast, you are more than welcome to join us at the Horatia on Holy Road for a meetup before the match. We're normally there 3-4 hours pre-game, wearing our badges. You'll see a red circular badge with our logo over the cannon, the Grover over the cannon. But what I would say is, and by the way, can I just say one thing? There's a couple of people who have been to the meetups and regularly, and they're well-known, acquaintances of the Grove that are messaging me saying, we need into this group chat. So Jermaine, Andy, I'm thinking of you two in particular. I am working on it, guys. I'm working on memberships for you. It's proving difficult with the higher ups, but I am working on it. Don't you worry. What I would say, though, is the Horatia yesterday was absolutely a sweatbox. It wasn't very nice at all. It was so busy. The outside part was tight, and I'm up on the curb, and then like poor Charles down on the curb, so I'm looking down at him.
Oh my God, the height difference is bad enough as it is, let alone surely you should have swapped places. That would have been better.
This is the thing. It's just too tight to do that. So we had a lot of discussion, and we're potentially looking at getting poll guy Owen to do a poll and see if we can, move it to somewhere like the Coronet or something like that.
I know, but that's it. Is that a Weatherspoons?
No, it's not. It's privately owned now. So
okay, well then that's fine. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm not worried. Just as long as, if it's not Weatherspoons, then I'm happy.
So yeah, that's just my thoughts. So Grovers, if you're listening to this, whenever you listen to this, please write a comment with hashtag Horatia. That's HORATIA, if you don't know how to spell it, Sasha. And just do hashtag Horatia either to me on WhatsApp or on the Spotify episode description, and just vote where else you'd like to go, or if you want to stay there.
I think just because of the proximity to Grant, that's why it gets so crowded. It's not it's an outstanding pub. So
the Coronet is equidistant to.
Okay, well, if it's bigger,
and there's also
it's not a fight. I like to offer opinions and differ.
Yeah,
this is not a fight I'm prepared to get involved with.
It's equidistant from the stadium, and it's also equidistant.
What's the XG? No, the XD. That's it. What's the distance to the ground? Versus
for expected drinks per hour or something.
And what's the capacity? And that's all I get. And was it speed to service? That one. I want the metrics. I want the metrics.
Flipping tabs. For someone who just drinks Diet Cokes and Diet Pepsis, I don't need to know anything like that. So
True. You still need to queue up to get your Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi and your non-alcoholic.
All I know is it's massive. It's bloody massive. And you've got Podolski posters outside. So
okay.
They're trying.
I'm in. If they had the Podolski kebabs, it would be a no-brainer.
So hashtag Horatia with an A, please, Sasha. And just vote if you want to stay at Horatia or if you want to move. I'm trying to start a movement here to see if you can go elsewhere. I need somewhere that's not going to be as hot and sweaty and also not as cold outside. So ideally Dubai, Soba Realty Dubai would be a great place to watch the games.
Yeah. You can't walk to the Emirates though in 10 minutes from there.
No, you can't. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tabs. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
We will see you guys on Monday. The next episode will be released on Monday for the Villa Lovin when we've won 3-0. See you later, Tabs.
Come on, you Gooners. Come on the Grove.
Will indeed. Bye, guys.
Cheers.